hit you with a softball question. I like a softball question right off the gate. What was your first job in the film and TV industry?
Well, I actually went to an art school when I was 10 years old. So technically, my very first job was singing and dancing on a kid video show when I was 13 years old.
So that's why I love asking that question, right? You never know the answer you're going to get. You know what I mean? Whether some people have interned, some people have done things when they're kids. It's the wide range of answers are really what kind of excite me about this. Okay, so now for the show. So you're the creator, executive producer of the I'm going to say smash hit. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But smash hit show, The Cleaning Lady. Where did the idea for the project come from?
Well, I've always wanted to do like a female Breaking Bad and a female empowerment story. And so I had a blind script deal over at Warner Brothers. And so I presented a few options to them and they presented a few ideas to me. And one of them was La Chica que Limpia, which is the Argentinian format that Shay Mitchell found. And so of the ideas they presented, that was the one where I thought, this is something I would love to adapt in order to create a show told from the lens of a completely unexpected hero, which is from the perspective of a Southeast Asian character and an undocumented immigrant, someone who is a doctor in her own country who couldn't practice here and is basically forced into circumstances that she never thought she'd go into, and how she manages to then, handle all the situations that are thrown at her and all the obstacles that are surmounting, and basically, find her own strength and find her own path and find her own voice and start making her own rules. So that was basically the inspiration of why I wanted to create this show.
So with that being said, what's it like getting that call that the show was greenlit?
It was it was amazing. There's a few steps along the way, right? So first, I developed the show for 5 months with Warner Brothers, and then we pitched it to the networks, and Fox picked it up immediately. So that was the first amazing news. And so that first step is basically that means that I'm writing the script. So after the script is made, then the next step, the next green light is that they basically greenlit the pilot, which is the first episode. And then, we were about to shoot the pilot, and on the day we were supposed to start rolling cameras, the entire world shut down for COVID, and everyone went into quarantine. So there was this long period of time where, again, it was like, well, what's going to happen? Is this ever going to happen? And then, what was kind of crazy when we got the call, like, okay, we're actually going to shoot the pilot now. We were still in the middle. We're still in the midst, which is also a crazy thing. But we were still in the midst of the pandemic with no vaccines and no treatment. And so I never thought that would be the situation in which to shoot this. So we did that, and what was amazing was that you had this really amazing team, this cast and crew that just came together, who are all very passionate about telling the story. And, honestly, there were moments I had to just pause, and it really, overwhelmed me with gratitude and emotion that this is actually happening, and people are like just coming together, bringing their own game, and amidst this pandemic to create this show. And then the next step after that was the final green light, which was, we're actually going to take this up to series, right? and that was, so it was a long journey to get there, I guess is one of the things I'm trying to get to. So, it feels like, as they say, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. and so it was a long journey to get there. And so when we got there, it's amazing. People are like, hey, you're going to have a show in there. You must be so excited. And it actually took a few days to really hit what that meant. Because some people said, oh, this is going to change the trajectory of your career forever. You're never going to have to worry about money again. And it's not about that. It's not about that at all. And what I realized, what what actually blew me away was the realization that, and the responsibility that this kind of show is finally getting on the air. And what this show represents is that there are so many people out there who normally don't have a voice, who are normally pushed into the shadows and are marginalized. And this is a show that is actually saying, you matter and your voice counts. And that was actually the most exciting and the most amazing feeling to have. But at the same time, I actually felt very humbled at that moment, because I realized, there is a great responsibility. There is a great responsibility when you are the first show really highlighting these kinds of stories and perspectives. And part of that is realizing, we just want to show each character to be as multidimensional and multifaceted as possible. That everyone has many different aspects of them, and really to highlight the humanity in each of our characters.
Getting the casting has to be perfect, right? So what about Elodie said she's it?
Elodie is such a fantastic actor, and we're so fortunate to find her. I mean, we did a huge search. We searched LA, New York, Toronto, Vancouver, the UK, Australia. We did a really broad search. And this is an extremely difficult character to embody, because she has to be this sort of invisible cleaning lady. But at the same time, she's a doctor. She's, super smart. She's, resilient and strong and impassioned and determined. And so she has to play this amazing range. And Elodie brings so much of herself to the character. She fully embodies this character, who is somebody who is, extremely intelligent, yet impassioned, yet determined, who's not going to take any crap from anyone. And, she is also so nuanced in her performance. And there are times where she just has to just give a look. She doesn't have to necessarily say anything to convey so much. And Elodie, is so incredible that she brings all this to the table.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the things I really loved watching her performance in the episodes, was that it's those subtle moments that she really highlights how great of a role, how great of a casting that was for her, because it's very intimidating, right? You know what I mean? Like, the facial expressions are not easy to make somebody feel things. And I think that's where she kind of nails it on the head.
Yeah, she's extremely, she's so connected to her character and in touch with her own emotions, right? And you'll never see her pulling out something that's not real, because she comes at it. And I'll say this, in her audition alone, which is the thing that blew us away, she presented actually a whole bunch of different takes for this one scene, and every single time it was completely different, because she was so in the moment of how she felt. So some versions it's funnier, some versions she's more angry, and so she does that every time, where she will just be in touch with where she's at emotionally and bring that out. And that's why it comes across as so real, is because that is who she is.
Obviously, you're wearing a bunch of different hats in this project, right? And with that being said, what's the most challenging thing for you when it comes to creating the show and wearing these different hats?
I don't know if anything's a real challenge. I mean, I love all the challenges, to be honest. I love, trying to figure out what is the best story, and also the best way to tell it. And, we have a fantastic writer's room. And so, getting, different ideas from different people is a really amazing experience. And then, also people will say like what they bump on and what it's like doesn't sit well with a particular story. And I actually love when people bring that up, because, okay, if it's not working, how do we make it work? How do we make it better? And I actually feel the same way every time I get a note from either the studio or network. It's always in the spirit of making things better. And so I love notes, because to me, that's a challenge. And it's a challenge of tweaking it. And sometimes it's the littlest thing that just, enhances it and elevates it. And so I actually love every challenge of that.
Like that. All right. So it's one thing to get created. It's one thing for it to get made, but then it's another thing for it to premiere and it be a hit. How did that feel?
We we did the best we could to put the best product together. And everyone, brought all their incredible talent to the table. And that was also just an amazing experience to have, where, from the production designer to the costume designer to the cinematographer, everyone brings their little piece of magic. And I honestly feel like, it felt like this on the show for everyone, that we actually captured magic in a bottle. And, from there, all we can do is put it out there. And fortunately, we had this incredible marketing and publicity team with Fox and Warner Brothers. And they put all these amazing promos out. And then, all we could do was hope for the best. And, to premiere, it's so hard these days to actually have people watch live on the night something premieres. And honestly, I think we're so thrilled. Fox is thrilled. Warner Brothers is thrilled. And to have it become Fox's highest rated drama premiere in 2 years was just extraordinary. I've also heard that we are now the highest watched Fox premiere on Hulu as well. And so, it's amazing. It's incredible experience. But I think, again, what's really, what I'm so overwhelmed by is that, and what this proves is that there is an audience out there for this type of material. And originally, I thought that I would pitch this for cable and streaming. And Warner Brothers said, well, there's actually a greater appetite on network television to see different stories and hear different perspectives. So let's pitch to network first. And I thought, okay, well, I don't want to change too much, but all right, let's do it. And we'll see what happens. And Fox picked it up, and they had that foresight to know that it is something that audiences are now craving, that there is like a wide, there is an appetite for these kinds of stories. And so, it's to the credit of everyone, I think, for really believing in this project and getting behind it from day one. And I think now it's paid off for all of us. And I think that's also really exciting, is that I think it's a reward for everyone who's put their heart and soul into this piece.
What's something you've learned about yourself during the creation of this project?
I guess, I mean, I just, even being here is something, realizing that this has happened, is a big step. Because, when you set out to do something, you don't think, it's going to happen the way it's going to happen necessarily. Like my husband actually said to me yesterday, when Warner Brothers put out this image that, the cleaning lady is Fox's highest rated drama. And he said, when you sat down to watch that little Argentine format and you're trying to figure out like how to adapt it, did you ever think it would blow up to become Fox's biggest show? And I was like, well, no, because it's not something that you ever imagine, right? And even think that capable of doing. It's just something that I just started to do. And I just set out to do the work to create the best show that I could and have this amazing team to create it with. And I guess that's something I learned, that it's possible. It really is a dream come true, but I say that without really knowing what that dream was. Do you know what I mean? Like, I never saw the end, an end point. I just thought of, I'm doing the work to create, to tell the stories that I think are important. And that was what I was concerned about. So I guess just being able to do this and create the show and have this kind of response is something I learned, and I think that's a lesson for anyone, is that anyone is capable of doing anything as long as you do just, put your mind to it and keep working at it and keep persevering. Then it is something that's possible.
All right. So my final question to you is, I have to ask, if you guys get the call, are you ready for a season 2?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we are ready. We have, one of the wonderful things about having an amazing creative writer's room is that you generate so many stories, and you don't necessarily get to tell them all in a 10 episode arc. So there are a lot of stories that we've still, we've been generating and that we're excited to tell. So bring it on. We are ready for season 2.